Did you know Elite Dangerous has no balance? Yes, imagine that, a game that rakes in millions yearly and apparently has 100 developers working on it, lacks almost any kind of fair gameplay rules. I know, most of you will be shocked hearing that. Not like the great and powerful Yemix hasn't been beating that dead horse into the tenderest of the cutlets, but still. After my fellow creator, Exigius, went out of his way to discuss this, I'll join in with my own take. And what a better way to summarize the complete opposite of the current day Elite than this fascinating quote from the CEO of Frontier, David Braben, back in 2012 during this Kickstarter phase video.
One of the things that we want to do with the alpha and beta tests is to ensure that no one role is a massive generator of cash. What I don't want as a game like this is being forced to forever asteroid mine or whatever it is, if there is one way of gaining a lot of money. I mean, it's one of the standard things for games is to essentially encourage the enjoyment.
After that quote, it's highly ironic that, by a wide margin, asteroid mining is the most profitable thing in the whole game. It's like an anti-drug politician found on a toilet dead, with a crack pipe in hand and a needle in his veins. That's how ridiculous this is. But then, how bad is it? Well, it's so bad that risk versus reward is non-existent in Elite. Anything that relates to combat is about as profitable as exploration. And both of them are at least 5 times less profitable than plunking your lazy ass in a random asteroid ring and groping those hard rocks, for the delicious commodities. While I personally think that exploration being the lowest risk gameplay should earn the least, and it indeed does, so it should remain the same cannot be said about anything else in the game. I also have to mention that throughout the years, only instance when developers have changed rewards for missions or gameplay has always been in light of obscene profits, which rightfully should be nerfed, or whenever a new feature is added. Only in those 2 instances. In the obscene paying category, yes, it should be nerfed, but it's highly hypocritical to allow low-paying jobs to stay the way they are. I mean, who cares, right? As for the new features when they are added, say a wing mission or passenger missions, or those new exploration or mining tools, they often end up more profitable than the previous version, and in case of mining and wing missions, only get nerfed when they again get too profitable. For your enjoyment, I did a chart. Everyone likes a chart. So I generally grouped the most mainline gameplay types by their skill and knowledge required, risk and actual reward the way it should be. Mind you, these numbers are just meant to show what type of gameplay is superior, harder or simpler than others. Basically, it's all relative, but you see that I put the most risky and skill required gameplay as the most rewarding. That's only fair. When you put in more work, you get the most reward. The opposite, but a little forthcoming, should be the easiest and the least involved gameplay. My rationale is that it still should be good enough to get you off the ground to start doing other things. And now let's compare it to how it actually is in Elite. Yeah, it's all over the place. Now, I did not include any supplementary gameplays like piracy. I mean, they are supplementary and not really fit for the main line. Regardless, like Fita's golfing, the biggest splash in Elite is made by the one of the easiest types of play. First of all, ask yourself, is it fair? And then ask, do you like it? Well, the Care Bears will yell that they like mining and don't want it gone. You selfish wankers are only thinking about the profit you make and not the game or its enjoyment. Just think, what happens when you make something super easy to acquire, even if it is not really faster than any other way? Well, of course, you will go and do the easy route, when the time and the reward is the same. I really don't know any idiot who would go for the hardest approach when all else is the same. The same is indeed happening with Elite now. Due to lack of any and all developer care or interest, they have let the in-game economy rot. And when it's time to update the game, instead of dousing the dumpster fire a little bit, even by pissing on it, they instead choose to toss in an extra canister of gasoline and, for good measure, some tires too. The offered gameplay, be that through mission boards or free roam gameplay, is skewed towards one thing: the easier and less threatening gameplay, the higher profits. And this leaves us with a simple truth. Why would a player ever want to do anything but asteroid mine when profits, progression and thus enjoyment as well is better when you stay safe? The game is even going so far as to almost punish you for picking anything that is even mildly risking. At this point, mining is so good that even the next best thing, passenger missions, that are still very good, no one still wants to play them. You have literally made a vast portion of your game, your product, obsolete. But in that wildly unlikely case when mining would get quote-unquote adjusted, as said, other types of gameplays are far too much easier and or profitable. When developers get their fecal-covered heads out of their asses, anything that has to do with combat would be still looked at as that redhead soulless stepchild. And you know, I haven't even mentioned how completely wasted there are other missions on top, like the Black Box Salvage mission, the Megaship Destruction or Prisoner Breakout missions. When was the last time actually anyone wanted to do these? And you know, whoever is in charge of Elite for the past 3 years have so royally fucked the pooch and shat the bed that if Elite was an adult, I would still be obligated to call child services on Frontier. You see, I've talked about these topics ever so often, and I'll link some good videos down below, but yet once more, for the end of the video, I'll play the great clip of David Braben, who these days probably has also stopped giving a shit as well. And that, my fellow space farts, is a depressing thought. However, on a positive note, if you enjoyed the video and the rant and whatnot else, do subscribe and maybe join the Patreon for further support. But now, without further ado,
one of the things that we want to do with the alpha and beta tests is to ensure that no one role is a massive generator of cash. What I don't want as a game like this is being forced to forever asteroid mine or whatever it is, if there is one way of gaining a lot of money. I mean, it's one of the standard things for games is to essentially encourage the enjoyment. You do that.